Hey there, film fans. I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to the Love of Motherfucking Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye. That's right, Dave.
That's right. And it's John's here. John's here. And Jeff's not here. And last week, Jeff was here. And John's, they're the same person. They're the same person.
We've just morphed into the same. Jeff is off doing a gig. Is that what he said?
He's doing a gig, yes.
Doing a gig. We don't even ask what the gigs are anymore.
Something about an underpass in Florida. I don't know what it was.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, wow. We went to two different places there. I deserve that.
What was that buzzer? What does that buzzer mean, Dave?
No, that buzzer is part of our shtick. It basically, if we say anything negative or stupid about a film, each other, the world, you will hear this sound, and that means we have to drink.
Oh,
so...
Yeah.
Pour yourselves a glass and prepare to see double, one slightly shorter than the other.
That's right.
Someone at some point is going to guess that all these are relevant.
No, they'll figure it out. I don't really give a shit. All right. What are we doing today? First, let me just get these sponsors out of the way. We love our friends.
We haven't had a clean intro in weeks. Let's just flow. Go with the flow.
I don't even know what the fuck is a clean intro. Carlos Barroso makes beer, and sometimes he lets us drink them. And by us, I mean just Jeff and Dave, because I haven't had one of Carlos's delicious beers in years.
But distribution he is still if he posts them to you.
I'm not opposed to that, Carlos. If you're hearing this, please send me some motherfucking beer. You can find him on Instagram. That is cbarroso.beer, CBARROZO .BEER, and follow him for all the fun updates on his beer journey. He is becoming quite the professional beer connoisseur and beer brewer as well. So we also have Dasein, the provider of all of our music, the artist Dasein. That's DASEIN. If you're digging the music, head on over to soundcloud.com/Dasein-artist, so you can download all this music for free. All right, I've been excited to talk about this one.
Yeah.
For a while. Didn't watch it until yesterday or 2 days ago, but Dave, I had a feeling you were anticipating this one. I thought it was an interesting.
I almost knew nothing about it. I didn't see this coming at all. I knew nothing about that like it was greenlit or anything. And it just suddenly they're like, Ryan Reynolds is doing a Netflix film, and I'm like, okay. And then I found out what it was, and I'm like, all right, that seems kind of cool. Then I saw the trailer. And I was all fucking in. And it was Ryan Reynolds paired with Shawn Levy. I watched this, and this is the piece of news I went nuts for on our socials. Is I watched this on the day I found out that Shawn Levy has been greenlit to, or at least in negotiations, to direct Deadpool 3. And now I'm so fucking on board for him to direct Deadpool 3.
I mean, look, Shawn Levy, he's no stranger to producing or directing. Let's just list off some of his big hits. First of all, we're talking about the movie The Adam Project. I guess we should just fucking announce that. Did I say that?
It's in the title.
It's in the title, but we're talking about The Adam Project. It's available on Netflix. Stars Ryan Reynolds, Zoe Saldana, Mark Ruffalo, Shawn, who? What's this kid's name, Dave? Help me out here.
Talking about
Walker Scobell.
Yes.
Yeah. He plays. We'll get to it. We don't want to spoil anything, but it's right there in the trailer. He basically plays a young version.
Jennifer Garner pops up in this too.
Jennifer Garner, yeah. Thank you for calling her out. She's wonderful. It's directed by Shawn Levy. Maybe you've heard of this guy because he's touched a few things that have been fairly successful in the past decade or so. Produced and directed several episodes of Stranger Things. What else did he just rock and roll for us?
A little Free Guy thing called Free Guy that if anyone also tunes into the Matt and Mark show may have heard me go off about and think, fuck, they don't have a gush alarm on that show.
Yeah, I think I still haven't seen it. So fuck me, I know I haven't seen it, but everyone I know,
it's out for free now.
Good, I'm gonna watch it. Everyone I know who is into those kinds of movies had a really good time with that one. I definitely need to check it out. But he also did The Internship, Date Night. He's touched some fun family things like some of the Night at the Museums, the Pink Panther, Cheaper by the Dozen. So he's been around and he's been succeeding very well for quite a while. This was his second time together, I guess, with Mr. Ryan Reynolds, and they seem to be on a roll. I guess Deadpool 3 will be their third to bat as director and actor.
They pretty much, I think, after Free Guy and then this, Disney just handed him the keys to the castle, and that's fine because, I mean, at this point, I'd hand him the keys to my fucking house and trust him.
I mean, Look, yeah, we're going to get into it as we do we're going to do our usual. We're going to kind of just give you our overalls. We're going to talk about some details we feel safe discussing until we kick your ass out of here to go watch it on your own and then come back on your own time to listen to our spoiler section. But as anyone can kind of guess from the trailer, a lot of the implications aren't really possible. We can't spoil them too much for you. They really tell you what the gist of this film is when you watch the trailer. I think they want you to know that in the synopsis going in. It's part of the shtick. They really want you to just see it play out. So I feel comfortable. I'm going to read off the little IMDb blurb here just to get us excited. After accidentally crash landing in 2022, time-traveling fighter pilot Adam Reed, Ryan Reynolds, teams up with his 12-year-old self for a mission to save the future. That's right, folks. So basically, within the exposition is, it happens so quick. It's the first fucking scene.
They just dump you in it. And okay, new rule, by the way. Anything that has Give Me Some Lovin' in the soundtrack for the opening simply can't suck. That's new rule. I'm making a rule right here and then.
They're setting the tone. They're setting the tone for you, and you're going to have fun. If you didn't know ahead of time from the fact that Ryan Reynolds is front and center with his quips and his timing and his humor and his self-awareness, it's all in this movie. Like, I think Shawn Levy gets him so well at this point. They're having so much fun. They're not just having fun with material. They're having fun with the actor playing it, which is always, I think that's how Ryan Reynolds has proved himself to be of value. Every one of his projects is kind of built around him.
I also feel like
it shows.
I feel like Walker, as a young Ryan Reynolds, channels Ryan Reynolds. Like, they obviously work together. There's a shot in where he's sitting in a car. Not a shot in the movie. It's a shot on like Instagram, and he's sitting in the car, and Ryan Reynolds is the front, and Walker's in the back, and he's reciting the entire opening to Deadpool 2. Apparently, he memorized the whole movie to get the gig. So he's.
We'll get to the casting for sure. I think that was probably really fun. It's probably challenging in some ways, but also really fun. I would imagine this came down to some really excellent chemistry reads between him and some kids, and I'm sure Walker just stole it. Like, the way they talk to each other is fantastic.
How much you want to bet the gag reel is longer than the movie?
Would not be the first Ryan Reynolds movie to probably have a legendary gag reel.
Yeah.
What'd you think, dude? Let's just give our overalls, and then we can dive in a little bit further.
You know what? This is how you do nostalgia right, as far as I'm concerned. I love this. This was fucking great. I sat there and watched it with my wife. It's science fiction, time travel, and it finished, and my wife was like, I fucking love that. Like, so, it's a great thing for, like, it's a good date night film. It has a little bit of feels. It has a little bit of everything. I dug it. I thought every single person was fantastic in this.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, man.
It was beautiful. Like, there's some beautiful shots, dude. That shot in the opening, where he's just standing out in the forest and there's just burning trees or like embers of trees. I was like, oh, how did they do that shot? And now I have to go and look it up. So it's like, I can't find it yet. There'll be some podcasts come out that tell me how they did that.
There were quite a few things technically that I would like to pick your brain about, and it's okay if we don't know the answers either. We'll get there a little bit later, but I think my biggest confusion about this was why and this is just the way the wind is blowing right now, I think. Why did Free Guy get such an enormous push theatrically and this didn't? I think this,
when they started making Free Guy, they were Fox. They were owned by Fox, right? And Disney bought Fox. And by that point, they already had a contract to distribute it.
Yeah.
In this case, I think Netflix bought the project or produced the project. So Netflix already owned it when they came to them. So
I still, and this is not what this episode is going to be about, folks, but it did make me want to just do a little bit more reading. I'm in an environment where I'm thinking about these things a lot, and I still feel like there is nothing but mystique around the way Netflix and these other massive streamers make their decisions. I guess they are at a place right now. The implication for me would be that they are at a place right now where they are making so much income from subscribers that they don't even feel a need to try to do marketing to get people to go see their movies in the theater.
Actually, their numbers aren't doing so good. They've like plateaued. So now they're trying to pull in the big stars to boost subscriptions.
Sure.
But yeah,
it's still just I don't know. Like, my only complaint about this this movie, look, the movie is what it is on face value. If you're in the mood to watch this kind of, I like what you said, nostalgia-based kind of action comedy having to do with time travel, this is right in the pocket. You're going to have a good time. It's harmless. They're going to pull at your heartstrings just enough. You don't feel like you have to be super emotionally present for it. But if you let it do its job, you're probably going to get touched by the end of it. But you're also going to have fun. You're going to get all the humor that you want out of Ryan Reynolds. It was a very fun time. It just made me curious why. I think my only complaint was that I think I would have had more fun watching this on a giant screen. It was just, there was so much to it visually.
No competition like that. Yeah. I would have loved to have seen this because I think I'm not sure if Netflix puts everything through their theaters on the West Coast, but
I know they're not even sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's anything they want to throw out for awards season. But I mean, I guess this was just something they felt comfortable putting straight on there and not theatrically, because they do release theatrically. But yeah, this one didn't, and it could have. This would have cleaned up.
Totally could have. I can't. Out of all the movies they're thinking about releasing, I hear what you're saying, dude. Like, you're not wrong. They want their award pictures out there too. I get that, because they have to be for Academy Awards, and I think people still do try to go see these movies like in the theater. But this is one that I feel like,
you're right.
People would have gone to the theater, dude,
also,
to see this.
For several reasons. This is a missed opportunity. Like, Free Guy has literally just dropped. Shawn Levy directed, Ryan Reynolds starring.
Yes.
And straight on the back of that, you drop this in the cinemas.
Perfect timing. I know, it really did.
Yeah.
I felt like I missed it or something. Like, I was like,
Nope.
Did it really
straight to streaming?
I mean, this.
And I mean, that's one of the things. Like, it's great that like streaming services are producing this high quality content now. Because remember, there was a while where a lot of it was just like 90% crap, and then you had the one golden series. Like Netflix lived for a couple of years off Stranger Things and stuff like that. But now it's a case of they're making stuff so good, you wish they'd release it at the cinema.
I wonder what Shawn Levy thinks about this too, just to take us back to our director and producer incarnate here. This guy's just crushing it. Obviously, the man has a really good relationship, I'm assuming, with Netflix. Stranger Things, probably one of their tentpole shows for several years. He produced it, directed several episodes in both seasons. I wonder if, and I would just like to be his friend and not have a business conversation, but just ask him, like, there is something mentally that we can probably do. We can compartmentalize as filmmakers. Like, this is a series that's going to streaming. Well, of course it does. That's what series do. But when you make a movie like this, which we saw Uncharted recently, we saw Moonfall. Like, this is in that category of action, of visual spectacle. And it just, I wonder if in his mind, I almost
buzzed you for mentioning Moonfall on the show.
Oh, come on! I almost buzzed you for. I'm going to buzz you for almost buzzing me for mentioning Moonfall. Come on, I still had a good time. But yeah, I'm curious if he thinks of it differently. If he's like, Stranger Things, like, we never thought it was going to do anything other than live in people's televisions, like, which is that's cool. It kind of transcended that,
and now it has its own store at Times Square. Like,
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but I wonder when he makes shit like this.
Stranger Things experience. I didn't get paid to mention that, by the way. I walked past it going to the movies.
Did it replace the Jekyll and Hyde?
It's right next to Madame Tussauds.
Wow, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just curious if he thinks anything, like, if he's like, fuck, like, for some reason this feels like it's not living in its true home, or if he has made peace with it, and we are all just going to have to get used to the fact that we need bigger and better televisions and sound systems to actually live up to what they're putting in front of us. It's that great anecdote from
you're
damn
right.
it,
I'm going
Dave,
to Best Buy.
What's the name of the DP who shot that episode of Game of Thrones with the huge battle that was so dark and nobody could see it?
Oh yeah.
And that DP was like, fuck you. I could fucking see it fine on my television. Like, everybody else is fucking wrong. It's just don't fucking yell at me. It looked great on my TV. And I guess we might be at that age where
absolutely. That's one of those things. We've had this discussion before when we were talking about sound. It was like, you can't cater for like the end point, like every end point that you're going to meet, because now, like, before all you had to cater for was the distributor's projection equipment. Well, now the distributor is Joe sitting at home with his TV. You can't cater for all those different models. We were lucky that I found out that filmmaker mode is now a thing. They have started to release that on TVs. It turns off all the settings and adjusts it properly. And now with the 4K HDR stuff, the HDR has a little sidecar file so that it appears as exact as it can to what you'll see in the cinema. So,
that's
or
great.
what you see in the grading suite, for that matter.
That's really good. Yeah, anyone who doesn't know about all the default settings on your modern televisions that you need to turn off completely so that it actually looks like a movie and not a sports game or a video game, contact us directly and we'll send you in the right direction.
Yeah, contact us on Facebook. We'll tell you how to turn all that shit off.
All the auto motion, the fuzzing.
Jeff, contact us on Facebook.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh, did his TV look like?
Did you not hear that part of the Coda episode? We were talking about Coda.
I haven't listened to it because I still haven't seen Coda yet. So
I watched Coda, and the first time we watched it through, it looked like a fucking Australian soap opera because he had his settings set on sports.
Come on, Jeffrey. Come on, buddy. You know what? Jeff. Yeah. The double buzz, motherfucker. Yeah, we got to turn those things. I know it's annoying. You have to go like deep into the setting, like the advanced settings to find the shit. But I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it.
That was how I found it. I went into his settings because I'm like, I'm going to check this. And I went in and third one down, filmmaker mode, and it fixed it instantly.
That's wonderful.
The change was amazing. It was unbelievable.
Look, we're going to go back. We're going to keep talking about this movie. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I think my only thing that I would have had more fun, I know I would have had more fun if I had a thing of popcorn in my lap and I was watching this on a big screen.
I did.
There were some technical special effects that
we got a popcorn maker.
I think I would have been more forgiving of on a larger screen. But I know that seems kind of crazy because some people say, no, when you see more detail, it's just not how a large screen works.
Some
you kind of live inside of it differently.
Yeah, some of those sequences needed to be in your periphery.
And we'll get to it a little bit later, but there is some facial de-aging software going on that I'm not sure if it worked for me entirely, but we'll get there and we'll talk about it. So go. I think you should watch this movie, folks. We're going to jump into our spoilers and we're going to talk more specifics. But if you are looking for this kind of film, I think you'll know exactly what it is the moment you look at the poster, watch the trailer, read the blurb, enjoy yourself, and have fun.
Now go fuck off and enjoy yourself. And we're going to talk spoilers. We're going to ruin the hell out of this movie from this point on. So yeah, if you've just joined us, what the hell are you doing? Stop clicking in the middle of the episode. This is a spoiler section. I just want to say, can you imagine the pitch for like when the guys from the future first turn up for that scene? It's like, all right, let's somehow incorporate Back to the Future with the speeder chase from Jedi and an SUV. It was. On the bright side, we now know officially the new cutoff for hoverboards is 2050. We have a new date.
You're exactly right, though, dude. Look, I still am going to stay positive for this film, but that sequence right there, like, it did feel like this was an amalgamation, whatever the word is, like of all the fucking all these kinds of movies. Sometimes we've talked about before about how sometimes you kind of feel like you're living in the wake of the Steven Spielbergs and George Lucases who came like a generation ago, right?
Oh, this totally felt like that.
Yeah, I mean, they made such an impact on the style of filmmaking that sometimes you just kind of can't escape that people are going to be doing things they did. So like that sequence felt that was like we were watching those three movies.
It did, but it was also, it felt like, again, it felt like nostalgia, but it didn't interrupt my enjoyment of what I was watching because I was like, okay, that's really fucking cool what they're doing right there. Like, they've incorporated two of my favorite things. Great. They obviously enjoyed them too. I'm on board. I love these guys. That's how I took it. Because it was like, obviously I'm watching a film by people probably around my age who enjoyed exactly the same shit I did coming through the 80s and 90s. And now they've been inspired by it and chucked it in a film. And I was 100% on board for that. Like, nice, I haven't seen that stuff in a while, and it gave me a giggle. It gave me a really good giggle.
Explain do you feel like we complain sometimes, and I do have some complaints about how sci-fi movies, there is a trap that I can't remember what movie we have talked about it before, but there is a trap whenever you're dealing with time travel. And it's almost like, God, it happens so much. Just the time travel thing comes up so much now. It's unfortunate for the filmmakers. There's different rules every fucking
like
time.
Avengers
so
Endgame, Avengers Endgame changed their rules in the middle of the movie.
I mean, change their own fucking rules, which, we've talked about that before too. But in a way, it's kind of annoying. It can be frustrating as an audience member when you kind of can't help but start thinking about the logistics and functionality of the world's physics. So there was a little bit of me that, like, they were having fun with it the way I think that a lot of action comedies try to have fun with it. that scene was charming, where the young version, Walker, was trying to figure out, the butterfly effect, basically. What's this going to do? And Ryan Reynolds was like, stop. Like, it's not worth it. I just told you the time travel is possible. Like, stop. Just don't even try to wrap your head around what's going to happen. So I guess that was fun that they tried they literally tried to tell us, don't think about it.
I do like their explanation.
Not think about it a little bit.
They did follow a few of the theories though, like time, like it moves in a wave as such. Like, so a change here will take a longer time to catch up to them, and the other part where I won't be affected by any changes till I go back to my point, my fixed point.
Your true time or fixed time.
The fixed point idea that really settled a lot of the problems it could have had for me. So I don't know who came up with that, but that was a little bit of genius there. Because that hasn't really been thrown in a time travel movie before, the fixed point in time.
I thought about that too, and I thought that was a nice little problem solve. Again, doesn't really matter if it's rooted in any corroborated theoretical physics or not. I enjoyed it for a plot point, just because it gave us something to hold on to, so that we weren't constantly lost in the theory of time travel, which was nice. Specifically, I did find it a little weird that the last thing we hear him say before he goes into the wormhole at the very beginning to travel back in time is that, I can't remember the exact quote, but he basically is talking about how your trackers don't work when you go in through the wormholes unless you turn the device on and there's a quantum tracker, all this shit. But then they knew exactly where he was. Now, so I thought that was interesting that they showed up pretty seamlessly without a scene telling us that they thought that might be where he was. But whatever, I forgave it. And then I also, Dave, help me out here, because I think I missed a detail. Why did their suits make them explode whenever anything touched them? Like, because it was happening with the cool little lightsaber weapon, which was fun. We can talk about that. But it also happened with regular guns.
Yeah, that was when they were dying. And it's a quick throwaway line. He's like, if you die outside your fixed time, it gets messy. And that was it. That was like just the throwaway. So like those guys who disintegrated were actually being killed outside of their fixed time point.
Oh,
and that's why they were disintegrating.
So we're supposed to believe that every time that happened to one of those guys, no matter what the injury was, it was killing them.
Yes.
Okay, because there was so much armor. Sometimes I was confused whenever they would get shot. I was like, why are they're dying so easily? Yeah. And I thought that was strange. What is all that armor for if it's just kind of pointless? And they're 30 years ago weapons are taking you out pretty easily here. I don't know. Maybe you guys should think about it. Again, whatever. Those little things were happening. It didn't bother me at all.
Particle effects. It was great. Yes.
It was lovely particle effects. It was fun watching that happen. And I think they had as much fun as they could have had with the opening fight scene in the woods that you were referring to earlier. When they started, I liked the tension too. I think I could have had maybe a little bit more tension, but I enjoyed it when he was like, "Oh no, get ready to run."
I fucking love the lightsaber gag as well. Is that a lightsaber? Yeah. No, it's not a lightsaber. And then he's like opens it and it's like an electrically charged staff, and the kid's like, "No, that's a lightsaber."
that's a fucking lightsaber. Yeah, they definitely had fun with that stuff. I mean, that's what this movie was. Like the essence of those things. It does live in. I thought the plot was fun enough, but this movie, I can't imagine this movie really existing without Ryan Reynolds and that kid bantering, which is kind of
absolutely. But again, that's why I think they were given the green light on it, because they found a kid who could do that, and it was quite funny. I'm willing to bet as well, because like there's the scene near the end when they're fighting at the reactor. Because we definitely didn't give any plot points away, but they end up like fighting in this reactor, and the kid gets hold of the staff and he does this big huge leap and then lands, and he looks up and he's like, superhero landing. I'm willing to bet Shawn Levy put that joke in his mouth, and Ryan Reynolds did not know it was coming, and he's like, get a camera on Ryan, get a camera on Ryan right now.
There were so many good funny moments like that. It's cheesy at some points too. I liked that they played against the cheese though. I feel like Ryan Reynolds was doing Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he's always doing Ryan Reynolds. So I'm not gonna give him.
Along comes Mark Ruffalo.
But before that, I was just gonna say that I think Ryan. That was funny. Yeah, whatever. It's funny. It's I think Ryan Reynolds was playing against the jokes enough so that all of his jokes, most of his jokes anyway, were coming out of frustration. Genuine frustration, and not just for the sake of.
That's the thing about
on the paper.
Reynolds can turn it on when he needs to. Like he,
which is good though. I mean, it came from
quips, but yeah, when he needs to turn it on, you see it's turned on.
Yeah, so I appreciated that. I don't know if that was directorial. I don't know if it was just him in his own mind, but that felt more like performance. Like on the page, I think it probably read as though they were motivated as well. But this movie would have gotten. I may have turned this movie off if it had just turned into them quipping within a plot that is so relatable.
And that's again, I think what Walker, it is at all. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite, I don't know if my favorite, but I really did enjoy the allusions to the whole. All right. So we'll give away some spoilers here. Mark Ruffalo's character plays their father, the father of Ryan Reynolds' character and Walter Scobell's character. And it's established very early on in the exposition. We're not giving anything super away here, that he is already dead. The movie starts and he's been dead for over a year in this car accident. So it's implied very seamlessly, of course, that Ryan Reynolds as an adult has not, did not have a father for most of his adolescence and his coming of age. And so there were all these wonderful, wonderful scenes or almost scenes or implications that the kid is going through it and it's more fresh and he's not fully formed into his, calloused over defense mechanisms. And Ryan Reynolds is a walking defense mechanism. Yeah. And I do think it worked well that they found ways to have them teach each other about growing up. And I know that, I mean, those were probably the most effective stuff to me. And I do think they did a good job of straddling.
When he does he does the teaching, and one end Ryan Reynolds does the teaching, and then later on Ryan Reynolds is in a similar situation and the kid does it right back to him. And I'm like, that's fair. That's totally fair. Like he just lets him get the shit beat out of him.
That's why this movie, I think, is better than what it could have. I think without that, it would have suffered. If it was just the action comedy, if it was just the
there's a lot of talking about not too long ago.
There is some heart. I can't remember what movie we were talking about too long ago. Where like we were discussing like the archetypes and these like sci-fi action things. You don't really want to know too much about. You want to see them. You want to learn about them through action. I can't remember what movie we were talking about, but this is one of those where you have a protagonist who is the protagonist role is being shared. Right, it really is the same person but split. Between these two actors, and I do think they did a good job of not having it be too many of those scenes. I don't know if that was on the script or if they made some good cuts in the editing room, but I feel like they did have a good balance so that you felt like in between these, could have been lulls, didn't actually feel like lulls. They were actually emotional highs because they were actually learning more about each other. They weren't learning as much about each other in the action, which is interesting because sometimes the action is where you kind of reveal their motivations or objectives.
That's the other thing I love about like Levy as a director, though, because he has like Ryan Reynolds and Walker, and then he had Ryan Reynolds and Jodie Comer, who worked beautifully off each other. And the temptation would be there to just throw them in every scene, just have as much of that as possible because it works and people will watch it. But he didn't. He's got the rest of the story he's got to tell, so he pulls back on that and manages to get some actual heartfelt like moments in the film. And I really respect that about his work. I like that a lot.
I really enjoyed the scene with Ryan Reynolds and Jennifer Garner. Jennifer Garner is the mother, and so she's also grieving, and she's just at a bar, and Ryan Reynolds runs into her, and obviously he's probably not supposed to see them. Butterfly effect, changing time, whatever.
Be damned in this movie.
Fuck it. They just said, fuck it. Don't think about it. Fuck it.
I like to think that's what I'd be like if I ever got access to time travel.
Well, they did this with fucking Thor too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Right? They couldn't help themselves. They were like, we got to get them back with their mom. But I did think this one was touching. And look, Jennifer Gardner I think she's a good actor, and I think she's kind of underrated, but she just fits so well into this genre. And I think both of them understood that the scene couldn't be too gushy. It couldn't be too full of tears or anything, but it did need to turn from casual to sincere emotional on a dime. And I do feel like they both took it there, and then we moved on. It was good. It gave you that again. I
even had a little intake of breath when he like blurted out, like when he turned the conversation to completely serious. I was like, he's giving away too much. Yeah. Like there was this
weird.
I was like,
what? I'm not gonna lie. There was a moment where
you thought he was gonna bang his mom.
I was like, do all time travel movies have to have a mother and son awkwardness to them? Like, are they doing this on purpose? Because this was after that fight scene that we referred to. I was like, are they just doing callbacks to all of our favorite? Like, they're doing them. Why? They're doing it with style, but like, I feel like they're like touching on all of our favorite sci-fi action comedies. Speaking of that, Dave, maybe there's a chance that Mark Ruffalo, when he was alive, or Jennifer Garner, sat down and made this kid watch the Back to the Futures. But I'm sorry, call me a cynic, but I think kids who are in pubescent age right now probably haven't seen our favorite movies from when we were younger. He quoted Back to the Future 2, like Biff and Back to the Future 2. And there was a little bit of me that was like, I don't know if kids watch those movies anymore. Do you think they watch them?
I think they do.
Really?
Yeah.
But do you think they watch them by choice, or do you think they just do it because their dad makes them watch them?
Like every parent I know, it takes joy in sitting down and showing their kids Star Wars and Empire and Jedi and Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 and all the shit they love during the 80s.
I'll buy the Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll buy the Star Wars.
Despite how it didn't do well in our franchise, Face Off, it is like a beloved franchise. A lot of people love it.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. There was a little bit of me that was like,
but again, okay. I'm not making an excuse to justify like this possible oversight in this film. I don't know whether I just wasn't picky and they'd already won me over by that point.
There was a little bit of me that felt like, and I guess I'm speaking to the writers, Jonathan Tropper, T.S. Nowlin, and Jennifer Flackett, who were all in their 30s, 40s, 50s, I'm guessing, based on some images I'm looking at right now. I kind of felt like they were writing. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. Respect to all.
Wow, IMDb Tinder.
All right, there were some times where I felt like the kid is talking. The script was written for you and me, Dave. It wasn't written for kids. Yeah. I felt like they wrote it for anyone who existed in the growing up in the 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe. Like this feels like it was like pointed right at us.
Oh yeah, there was even elements of like I even picked up on elements of Flight of the Navigator in there, and yeah, like that for sure, dude. Early 80s,
right? Yes, I mean that was like my favorite fucking movie when I was a kid, and there was a little bit of me that kind of felt like I don't know if this kid is believably saying he's talking as though he was there with us. When like he wasn't, like Ryan was, I guess. Like Ryan was.
Like I'll give you that one. Wasn't supposed to be. But for me, that one completely unnoticed.
I mean, that's good. Well, maybe it's because we're getting older, Dave, and
I don't know.
It's harder to think about what the kids these days are thinking about. I don't even know. I'm genuinely saying I don't know if they watch our movies anymore. Get off my. I mean, honestly. Anyway, sailing right fucking past that. What do you think about what happened to you? What do you think happened to the movie when Mark Ruffalo enters the story? Let's just tell them what they have to do. So they realize the only way. Actually, let's go to Zoe first because short-lived. I wanted more of Zoe Saldana. I kind of
did as well, but again, it was one of those things where he dangled it out there, and then it was like she served her point in the story. Let's not milk this. So again, it's a discipline thing. It's like this was a good thing, and she's a wonderful character to have. But if you take her away, then it gives you a sense of loss. That's a beat in the film.
Let's explain it then, because I think they took a big risk structurally with the script. There is a motivation early on that is established very, very, very clearly and very quickly between Ryan and his younger self that he came back to rescue his wife, who disappeared on a time traveling mission. And you think that's what this whole movie is going to be about. Well, basically in the beginning of the second act, we find her. They find her, and you're like, oh, great, team up, buddy cop. We're going to go with them, the three of them, through the end of the movie. And they fucking kill off Zoe Saldana real fast. I mean, there is one giant sequence, and she's dead. They literally go,
hey, by the way, how this movie started, it's not how it's going to end. You thought we were here to rescue her? No. Like, time's already been fucked with, and you're now in the second half of the story, and she doesn't really have a part in it. But also, like, that is a weird place, I must admit, to put the, like, whiff of death beat.
I thought it was really interesting. I also thought it was
it did raise the stakes from that point on, though, because she literally killed someone to try and stop them. And I'm like, okay, it's on anyone could die at this point from that point on.
Anyone could stop them.
And when you waste Zoe Saldana, everyone's at risk.
It was also a really wonderful way to introduce the theme that they kind of started fucking with, which I did appreciate. And it wasn't really established until now, which is interesting to introduce a theme somewhere in your second act. But basically, she said Zoe Saldana was talking to Ryan Reynolds about how he has to leave. He came back to save her, and now he has to leave her to save time, to save the world, to save everything.
And the end result of that is when he does that, he'll lose her.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So this theme that they started introducing here, that like they've already messed with this idea of fixed time. Everyone belongs at a certain place at a certain time, and that's just how it is. After Zoe Saldana's sequence, when she makes him realize you can't stay here, it starts to allude to that a little bit. But from there to the end of the movie, they really start opening up the idea that we have no control. Like the illusion of all these sci-fi movies is that we're starting to garner more control over our physics and our universe.
Yeah.
And this movie is actually saying, because we had that illusion and we led into it, we forgot the fact that we actually don't have any control over any of these things. And they only have faith
you could be
that
living
they were
in
going to
someone
meet
else's
again.
reality right now. That was what that spoke. Like no, it was the thing where she laid down. It's like, yeah, no, the timeline's already been changed. That was
it's already been changed. And I also like that
yeah.
she said, but and you're also now one thing I couldn't understand the physics of this. She was also saying that we will have always met. We will always have had that time together. But then they didn't quite clarify if they were going to retain these memories when they returned to fixed time.
Yeah, no,
I don't think they
feel
do.
I feel like that was just her trying to make him feel better so he'd go. Like it was kind of like one of those things like we'll always be together. Or
it gave me pause for just a second because I think it kind of pushed against the theme it was just establishing, which is that we actually don't.
The great classic Team America. I promise I will never die.
Yeah,
I buzz myself for that one.
No, honestly, no. I mean, you're right, but anyway, I do think they, whether or not they stuck the landing on the clarity of the theme they were trying to introduce, and in opposition to the obstacles of him actually having to just leave and her trying to make him feel better, it doesn't really matter. I thought it was emotional. It got you to move past it, and it launched them into the last part of their second act, which I thought was really interesting. It gave it a whole new spin when they realized.
Almost.
I mean, it definitely. Yeah, there's an argument for that. There were
at
least 8 big sequences in this.
Yeah,
it was split, and I thought it was fun. The midpoint of this movie is basically when they get there with a lot of momentum, which is fun. The resolution was painful. The resolution is Zoe Saldana's death in the midpoint of this film, and they realize we have to go back and we have to get Dad to not invent this motherfucker. Big surprise. That's the first time they reveal that he is the one, their fucking father is the one who invented the technology that will lead to time travel, which was, very movie of them, but who cares? We were on for the ride. So then Mark Ruffalo finally comes into it. Now, Dave, I want to ask you this question because it was the only time in this whole movie where I was like, come on. Ryan Reynolds is sitting in the back of a lecture hall, and he knows a piece of information about a quote that Mark Ruffalo says came from the Romans. And Ryan Reynolds has this back and forth with him in a lecture hall in front of other students. Mark Ruffalo is lecturing at some university, probably Harvard, about who actually said the quote. And they have this little back and forth. And Mark Ruffalo dismisses the class, class dismissed. And they're locking eyes with each other. And Mark Ruffalo says, Adam?
Okay.
He hasn't seen his son. He doesn't know who this guy is. Probably knows he's a fucking stranger. Okay. What was that shit?
That is romanticism at its best.
Come on.
I will recognize you by your eyes. That is romanticism at its best. Like for me, that was a thing. Like it's corny, but it's a film thing.
Corny, and it didn't go. I don't think they work so hard after the fact for Mark Ruffalo to live life by the science.
Yeah, I feel like in that particular moment, it was meant to endear you to him because you recognized him.
Yeah,
so
it didn't completely pull me out of it, but I was a little bit
it was like, for me, it was like, okay, the picture that Ryan Reynolds has painted, like his character has painted of this man, is probably not what we thought, given the fact he recognizes him like 30 years after the fact.
Yeah, it led into a sequence where they were catching up with each other and corroborating all of Mark Ruffalo's theories / trying to get into this funny little fight thing where they're trying to top each other and so they can get to the actual dilemma. And I think it worked. I mean, I think there was a lot of talking right there in those middle scenes, and it had a funny moment in the middle of it where they punch each other.
Yeah,
which was charming.
Fucking cracked me up.
I wanted to punch Mark Ruffalo too.
Somebody posted a freeze frame of Mark Ruffalo punching him back today. It's just awesome. But that was the only thing that irked me, I think, about the whole thing was like his character's refusal to like, no, you can't tell me any of this. No, you can't. You got to go. You got to leave. Like it was just so much refusal. It's like they're fucking there for a reason, dude. Come on. And I think I was meant to feel that frustration.
I think you were. I think I liked it better when it was played between Doc Brown and Marty McFly in number 2 and number 3. I mean,
no one will top that.
You kind of can't escape. Like we knew that scene was probably going to come. The scientist is getting, it made it all worth it for me though. When at the end of this whole fucking movie, I'll jump ahead for a little bit. When the boys, the Adams, are trying to let the father, Mark Ruffalo, know that, Dad, we want to let you know what happened. You're going to die. Again, Back to the Future, like the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
But whatever. And Mark Ruffalo said, referring back to that meeting, he said, I knew it. I saw it in your eyes. And you can't tell me how it happens. I don't want to know. And I'm sorry. But like I knew from that moment that I wasn't there for you, and I'm sorry. Turned into a little bit of the Goebel hunting. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Which is whatever. It was fine. It was still touching and funny. It was both, which is a good
but
bullseye.
Also, like, can you imagine in real life if you were that character and you're like, yeah, no, I saw it in your eyes, so I know it's coming. So every minute from that point on, you're like, waiting for something to come out and fucking kill you. What kind of a life is that? What's he just signed up for?
It was weird. I'm not gonna lie. I did think it was a little. I wonder how much because I know they talked about, of course they talked about all these things. Ryan Reynolds was just, there was so much there. I understand as a character, there was more there for him to unpack, being able to look his father in the eye than for young Adam. Because Adam just lost him. He's a child.
Yeah,
but I do feel like they didn't have as much, way more issues. But I do feel like they didn't really give the young Adam I wanted him to just run up to him and hug him. The kid. Like, where was that? Where he just turned into a kid and was kind of helpless. He was so quippy and so smart and so egotistical for so much of that movie. I do think there was a little bit more opportunity for them to just cut through it and go straight to the vulnerability, the helpless child. They never went there. Obviously, they chose not to. They wanted him to have a little bit more of that confidence, that observation. He was watching them a lot.
The talk that he gave himself, where he's talking about you made yourself hate him. It's possible that's already started at that point.
It's true. Yeah. But God, if your dad's dead for a year and you see him, you're like 10 years old, I think I'm going to be a mess of tears and I'm going to be hugging him and I'm going to forget that I ever was a smartass.
Yeah, probably.
But it doesn't matter. I don't want to, I'm not trying to write the script. I just thought it was interesting that they chose to stay with Ryan Reynolds' perspective and keep it in that comedic, frustrated place, which again was very motivational. It really helped move the plot forward because it may have sucked us down if it turned into Mark Ruffalo and little Adam Walker and just emotional scenes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it was good. All right, so now we're going to get to my biggest and only real flaw that I wanted to talk to you about and see if you felt the same way. There's a little movie, just a tiny little movie. It's a quick 3.5 hour called The Irishman. I don't know if you've heard of it. And a few years ago when this movie was out, I got kind of fucking sick of people talking about how they could never watch that movie because of the facial stuff on Robert De Niro and how it ruined the movie for them. That detail in that movie was distracting because I just don't think the tech is totally there yet. And I don't know if the tech will ever really compensate for the fact that you're still working with an actor who's no longer that age. They just don't, they're getting damn close anymore.
But
right, they are getting close, but it's still an instrument.
Where was the de-aging in this? I missed it.
So do you not think that was Catherine Keener with that? I thought that they had done the same thing to Catherine Keener.
I thought that was entirely makeup.
No way.
We will have to check that. Like I thought that was practical.
No way.
I thought that was practical.
All right, maybe it's my TV, but me and Elizabeth, my girlfriend, she said the same thing too. It was so weird, dude. It wasn't even, her face wasn't even moving correctly with features and stuff. It looked computerized. Especially, they were ballsy as fuck. There were so many two shots where they had her and her older and younger self standing next to each other.
Yeah.
And they were going for it. And I don't know if it was a body double with the face on her face or if it was her, acting with two masks.
We're gonna research this. This will come up in a future episode. But yeah, we'll look into whether or not
people come at me because that was that was difficult. That took away every one of those scenes. I could not stop thinking about how bad it looked, and it really did. It kind of sucked me out of it. And I think
mainly I was watching the older one because I was waiting for it to like be evil. I don't know. It was I was.
I talk about that because that felt a little too easy.
That was the one contrivance my wife picked up on as well. She was like, "I'd like to see more about why she was so evil." And that was a quick throwaway line. They do one quick throwaway line when she's meeting with herself, and they go, "Yeah, it used to be like the government took it all away, and I had nothing. Like the government will take it all away, and you'll have nothing." And that's why she did what she did. And then from that point on, it was just a slope of keeping it going and stopping people fucking with it. But it was such a quick throwaway line. The rest of that history was implied by my brain. So, yeah, they didn't really fill out why she snapped because she seems like a good person as the younger one. So, yeah, that was the one criticism that I think came out of it from my wife. I was on board. I filled in the gaps in my head.
Look, again, for the kind of movie that this felt like, that's how we used to write antagonists, right? We were okay with them being a little usefully two-dimensional, right? Like they serve their purpose so that we can move our protagonists around them.
You get old, you get evil. Look at me.
Yeah. But it did just make me, it was kind of an interesting conditioning observation I was having. I was like, we are no longer writing people like this. We're no longer writing our villains with black cats and not really talking to you about how they came to be. And I thought it was really, I don't know. I just thought that I didn't need this whole giant subplot, but there seemed to have been a genuine, I thought the implication was the way they talked about it, that there was a genuine investment in each other. Her as the investor and the company owner, and Mark Ruffalo with the technology.
I thought they were going to go down the road where she'd actually had him killed. But they didn't.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I thought that was certainly. I thought that was possible.
Did a thing about that, but yeah, it never came up. And I was like, did she or didn't she? Like, did she cause that car accident?
I mean, yeah, you're right. They didn't really go there, but that seems likely.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah, I wonder, was that possibly a plot element, and they just cut it?
Yeah, it was a little mustache twirly.
That's a theory
for the for me. I don't know. It was still fun. It doesn't. Look at the poster of this movie. It looks like a fucking Star Wars poster. The way they even have them arranged. I mean, it does. Like they know you know what this is supposed to be. It is what it is. So don't go searching for deep water here.
Yeah.
But everybody is quite charming.
But oh my god,
what'd you think of the final moment?
Yeah,
the final the bullet moment.
That sold for me.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yeah.
There was a piece of me who thought she's going to step in. Like I thought she was going to do something to herself to prevent it.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was how they were going to solve their problem.
I thought that as well. I do like that. Like Ruffalo got his moment there.
I do too.
Sometimes it's cool to be a nerd.
I'm not gonna lie. There was a little bit of me that was like, "All right, we're playing with super magnets right now. We have a giant electromagnetic field that is imploding right now. Do they not have zippers on their flies? What about the other metal that is around them? Why were they able to hold some guns and not other guns?" It was unfortunate, but like you just can't help it. Whenever you start playing with shit like that, you've taught audiences to think about that. So the very first thing, do you remember the very first thing that gets sucked into the magnet? What was it? What was the insert? It was the snaps off of a jacket. The very first thing is strong enough to pull snaps off of a fucking jacket. And then by the end of it, when the whole fucking
wind
room
tunnel
was getting right, the whole fucking thing was coming apart. And yet Catherine Keener was holding a gun that had, I don't even care if the gun wasn't metal. It had metal bullets in it because obviously the metal bullet gets sucked at the end. There were a few things where I was like, I'm just frustrated that I'm distracted by thinking about it. I wish you would have figured out a way for me to just not think about it.
Yeah, I feel like
kind of like they did with the time travel stuff.
I feel like to watch those movies, you got to just let go of that. Like for some of the stuff.
I know.
I mean, it falls under sci-fi, so let's not pick it too hard. Like if it fell under hyper realism, by all means, pick it to pieces. But this was definitely not hyper realism.
I know. It was just a little bit like, come on. You can't the whole movie is about, not the whole movie, but a lot of the movie's themes are about, I loved Mark Ruffalo's final line when she's like, you never understood the
The science.
You never understood the big picture. And he says, and you never understood, you never got the science. And she gets killed by her own bullet, getting sucked into the magnetism, blah, blah. Now she's dead. Okay. So how about the actual final moment? I used that phrase earlier. Did you enjoy the way it ended with catch, cheesy catch with dad? Then they're just not there.
Yeah. I was waiting for that. I thought it would happen separately, to be honest, because if it was catching up with them, it should have caught up with the little kid first. But
yeah, I thought they were going to do that too, especially because of what I was saying earlier.
I don't know how fast time waves move, though. I'm not a physicist.
Time waves, dude. I mean, they'll get you. But
they'll get you.
I did enjoy.
Can't surf them.
All right, now clarify this for me, Dave, because I'm still a little confused, and I'm sorry, but I could not think about it. I thought in Zoe Saldana's scene, she was pointing out that we won't remember, but we found each other once. We'll find each other again if we're supposed to, and it'll never change the fact that at some point in time we did find each other. All right, whatever. Put that aside. There are 2 scenes at the end of this movie after the boys disappear, Back to the Future style, and it's just Mark Ruffalo left in his fixed time, 1 year, a year and a half, I think, before he dies. It cuts forward to a scene where the little boy is repeating a scene with Jennifer Garner, his mother, that we saw earlier before Ryan Reynolds appeared at the beginning of this film. Were we supposed to think that the boy remembered what had happened to him and was choosing based on his memory not treat his mother wrong?
I think that was the echoes.
That was just him realizing of his own...
It was just a feeling. Yeah.
Okay. That confused me because
granted, that wasn't telegraphed too well. It could have been either way in that case. Like it did look like a choice.
Yeah, it did look like a choice,
again,
which
it was
I just wasn't sure.
It was kind of like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to do this. Like, sort of thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. I think I have a few ideas of how it could have gone a different way, but clearly they wanted it to feel that way.
They did, and I mean, and the second scene on which I know you're going to bring up, I think
that confused me even more.
I think that was sorry we killed Zoe scene.
Yeah, I mean, she looked great. Zoe, she always looked great, and I was touched to see them back together in a similar story that he had told his younger self about how they met, and but unlike the moment of decision that I felt like we saw young Adam make to treat his mom nice, I kept thinking we were going to see Ryan look at her with memory and be like, game on. Like, I found her. And they didn't play it that way. They played it in the true ambiguous, truly
it
echo.
Just happened again.
No knowledge of anything. He just was
that was always going to happen. She was right.
Yeah. So I guess I one of them wasn't quite clear enough for me, or they were a little bit different. And I was just a little confused about whose rules were actually right. I know it ultimately doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's back in their fixed
Nobody's
time.
rules were right.
We did it. Nobody's rules were right. But it was just a tiny little thing. Like, God, it's just the pebble in the shoe kind of thing. I was just ready to just have an emotional resolve for everyone in this fucking movie.
You might know, but it doesn't matter because some fucker changed it.
Oh, my God, it is. It's frustrating. Yeah, this is why in Endgame...
That's why everybody has a chalkboard in their living room, just in case.
This is literally why in Endgame they had there's a whole sequence dedicated, right? There's a whole sequence dedicated to them trying to explain why every movie was wrong up until now.
And then they went the way,
and then they break their own. Yeah. I know. It's just like,
well, it was kind of funny. It was like they explained it one way, and then the Ancient One's like, no, it's not like that at all.
Yeah,
it was like,
whatever. Yeah. You're going to get into that. Dave was right. I was wrong. Whenever time travel's involved and it's not heightened realism, go fuck yourself. Don't even try to take it seriously.
Relax, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, you're going to be annoyed. I should have probably had a spliff or something before this movie, but this is a movie with rewatchability. I think if I was a child, I know I said I don't think this was made for kids. It was.
I mean, the only way you're going to understand the physics of this entire movie is if you're on LSD when you watch it. So, yeah.
Oh, LSD. I would definitely rewatch this movie though if I was a young person. Like, I think I could have seen myself latching onto this, having a lot of fun, a good sleepover movie with your friends. Yeah, I could see this being a fun one to rewatch. And I wish I could have seen it on a big screen.
I did recommend it to someone I work with, and he has a 10-year-old kid, and he was a little concerned about, like, they mentioned, like, getting laid at one point in it and stuff like that. I'm like, well, it's up to a parent if you want to you know, if that's the thing, you got a 10-year-old kid and he's like, oh no, don't worry about it. My kid's been exposed to that. He goes to school. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Okay. So
also probably has a fucking phone, and those kids watch porn at like 8, 7. It's ridiculous. You know they fucking do, dude. How about this? One last thing I want to throw at you, dude.
They wrote a song about it.
I know he's got Deadpool.
Yes.
And I know he's always funny in everything he does. But I kind of want Ryan to do an actual grounded human beings without superpowers comedy. I kind of want to see him do something. I kind of want to see him go in that direction again. He's been living in this superhero-y world for so long that I think he has found amazing ways to channel his thing into these characters, literally creating it with Deadpool, but also taking movies like Free Guy and Adam Project that really let that kind of come through with the dialogue, and he's got all the talent. I just wouldn't mind seeing him take off the cape for a little bit and just do something grounded, just so we can laugh again. Just have fun. He's like, so fucking
there was
funny, dude.
In a lot of his earlier work, there was a little bit of that.
Yeah, Van Wilder, dude. I mean, come on. It's like, God. Oh my God, dude. That was like where I felt. Did you just buzz me for saying Van Wilder? Is it because of the desserts that he brings over to the fraternity? Is that why you're buzzing me? Anyone who remembers that sequence? Oh my God, these are so good. What is this? It's so warm.
You've seen that movie way too often to be like a frequent member of this podcast. Come on.
Oh my God, it's so funny. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Zoe Saldana, I assume we're going to see her popping up like crazy in the avatars when they...
Avatar,
when they circle
Guardians
back.
of the Galaxy has one more to go as well. She's got a lot of work.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were doing another one.
Oh yeah, 3 is the...
Of course
3 is the finale. Yeah.
Of course they are, with Thor, right? He's with them.
No, Thor: Love and Thunder has a couple of the Guardians in it, and then Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm not sure because that's only just started production. We don't know very much about that at all. And get ready, take the tissue box because I'm not sure they're all going to make it through this one.
All right.
Yeah.
Love Mark Ruffalo. Can't wait to see him do some more big boy adult grounded drama. I'm so glad he has found his place doing these charming things.
Doing more Hulk. So
yeah. Look, he knows what he's doing. I wasn't sure about it when they cast him as the Hulk, only because clearly he's got the talent. I just didn't know if Mark Ruffalo was going to be a happy human being working in this comic book world. But I think he's found some fun ways to do it. Can't wait to see him do adult drama again, though.
Yeah, he still does that in between.
Jennifer Garner.
There's a whole heap of stuff.
He does. He made a good series a couple years ago. But anyway, Jennifer Garner, dude, I haven't seen her in a while, and I like how they gave her that one moment just to remind all of us that like. Fucking Alias is on screen right now, dude. Where the son came up behind her and she kind of was like, and did her little martial arts stuff to just kind of fight with him. Yeah. And it was so charming. And again, it was just a lovely little callback, but also reminded us that like Jennifer Garner is not your typical female actor just because like Zoe Saldana, they were both established in very physical roles. Zoe Saldana with dancing and center stage and then martial arts. I just love that they didn't shy away from that. They wanted you to remember Jennifer Garner is Jennifer Garner, and that's the kind of actor she is. Yeah, I thought they embraced it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I liked it.
I mean, that bar scene as well. Like, really, it was like, remember Jennifer Garner? Here she is again. Like, she's back. Yeah. That was an amazing scene.
Yeah, she was good in that, dude.
Yeah,
she was good in that. It was touching. I feel like I don't think they gave. Maybe they could have had a few more scenes with them because they were both just so good. But they really did serve the purpose perfectly.
It discipline and editing, I guess. I don't know.
And it made you want us to get back with them. I think that scene at the end was touching because of that. You know, if we had lingered too much with Jennifer Garner's sadness and grieving, it may have felt like they had pimped us into that moment. Whereas
that was the setup for the scene at the end. Really.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. He was a real dick to her. He was a real pain in the butt. There this last thing I'll say. There was a lovely, and I don't know if I've ever really seen this in a movie before, and this was one of the success of their time travel tropes, was that they really allowed, by stomping on the butterfly, Ray Bradbury's butterfly effect, they were like, fuck it. They let Ryan Reynolds said anything he fucking wanted to this kid. Yeah. He never told him what he got arrested for in college, but he told him from the very beginning, he was calling himself out. Stop being a little asshole. You talk too much. You're fucking mean to her. She has no one to take care of her. She takes care of you every day. You selfish little prick. Like, it was cathartic.
Yeah. Getting
to watch this person rip on their younger self for being so narcissistic and selfish.
Again, don't we all want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. You always said you wanted to meet my younger self.
Yeah.
So that was nice, and that carried through to the end. I did feel like there was a catharsis that they had kind of gotten their claws into pretty early on, within about 8 or 9 minutes, and they didn't really let it go. No. It turned out to heal itself. The kid eventually told him what was up as well. But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun comedic device, but it ultimately, I think it did yield a lot of the themes of the movie. That's why it worked,
because that kid gave as good as he got. Like, yeah. Ryan Reynolds is a powerhouse to be up against on screen, and that kid gave as good as he got.
He did, man. I felt like he often wore the shoes, and Ryan Reynolds was on his heels defending himself, which is good. That was the only way it could have worked. Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been cruel, what I was just describing, if it was just the adult telling the kid to go fuck himself. But because the kid was calling him out so much, it was good. It was touching.
And then tries to reach for the beer. But yeah. Anyway, I think, we've talked about this as much as we possibly could. Definitely check this out on Netflix. It is absolutely worth a look.
It's fun, man. It's fun. Yeah, I grab the kids, grab the family.
If you're Gen X, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, I think that's probably a wise shot. I wish maybe we should call out and get some. Do you have any friends with children? I feel like my friends' kids are just getting old enough where I could ask them, like, did you like this movie? Like, they're all, where they can watch movies like this. I feel like we need to get some kids' takes on these family movies just to see if we're totally fucking wrong or if they enjoyed them as much as we did. No, oh Jesus! God, just with apple juice, kids. Just sugar highs. Just sugar highs here for the love of cinema.
We'd be banned in like 30 states.
Come on, it'd be fun.
I said 30.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
What have you been watching, dude? Let's get on to our little thing.
Dude,
yeah, because I have not been watching much. But
I started Picard season 2. It's out now.
Oh, there's billboards for it everywhere in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and dude, it's like because a lot of people complain that season 1 wasn't Trek enough, like wasn't next gen enough. I guess. Really? Yeah, it was kind of dark in places.
Was it dark and serious and more? Yeah,
sort of. But like this one, dude, I'm 2 episodes in, and holy fuck. Like they took the notes, they understood the assignment, and this is amazing. And it's got like all the best characters so far. I'm sure there's more coming as far as cameos. And also this week I was feeling restless, so I just fired up Amazon Prime. I'm flicking through it, and I came across this movie called Suck. And it's a band, like this band who's been playing no dead end gigs, decides to sell out, and one of them ends up becoming a vampire.
What?
And dude, it is. I put this on. I'm like, this is literally going to live up to his name. It's going to suck. And I put it on, and it was surprisingly entertaining. It is the lowest budget indie film like you could probably find. That's still fairly decent. But in the background, you've got fucking Alice Cooper as a bartender and like one of the antagonists. All these other fucking like huge like musical producers and stuff in B-rolls behind the main cast of this band that's just touring. And like there's actually some like laugh out loud jokes in it. And I was pleasantly surprised. It's one of the, I would almost fall into those so bad it's good kind of things.
Okay. But it sounds,
because there's some stuff that's and like absolutely lives up to the name Suck in it, but it also like has some little gems in it. I was very surprised.
Nice,
I watched it Amazon right to the Prime. End. I was laughing. Yeah, Suck.
Nice, dude.
Do not type it into Google.
Well, we're not going to tell you what to do. Your body is your body. You type it in if you want to. But I watched.
If you're at work.
Jesus Christ. How many porn filters do you think they have on like major work computers? Like
oh my God.
Corporations. Dude. Like, are they pretty good with those firewalls or are they terrible at it?
No, they're really good. They even have skin tone sensors that sense how much skin tone is in a picture you download. So yeah, they're onto it.
Speaking from experience here, Mr. David
Well,
Green.
no, I was once searching for something for an intro to a show I was working on. And this is when I was working for a studio I won't name, but I typed in
Warner.
I typed in ice rink pictures. And the first link that popped up said ice rink pictures. So I clicked it. It was not fucking ice rink pictures. It was not. It was some things even I hadn't seen before. And I closed that page at like 0.3 of a second. I'm sitting there like, like fucking IT's coming for me. They're coming for me any minute now. Guys in black suits are going to bust in with guns and shit. And nothing happened. But like, yeah.
This is like 2 girls, 1 cup territory.
It was not that bad. Jesus.
Oh my God. Man, when was the last time you thought about that, film fans? I just did that to you. Have fun. Have a good rest of your day.
Wait, do I buzz you or gush you for that?
You're welcome. I watched, I'm not gonna lie, I'm working so much, guys. I don't have enough time to watch the movies I want to see. So I've kind of just watched some sitcoms while we're eating. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
The new one. What's it like?
Well, no, the old one.
Oh,
and
the old one.
It made me think. I forgot because, I watched the Super Bowl like everybody else. And my Lord, they were pushing that like it's the only thing on television. So maybe I'll give that a shot at some point.
I've heard it's not a comedy, it's dramatic, but like, yeah.
Oh, it looks dramatic as hell. And I think they went a totally different way. Single camera, heavy drama.
Yep.
All the socio-political commentary you're looking for, I think.
All right.
I also watched this documentary last night called Overnight. And it's about the writer-director Troy Duffy, the guy who made The Boondock Saints.
Oh.
And about his kind of rise and fall overnight, getting like the largest script deal like in history in like 97 for
fucking radar, yeah.
$300,000, treated people really poorly.
Oh.
Eventually got Miramax turned their back on them and really kind of just buried them, and
damn,
nobody wanted to buy the film. It was a real lesson, and just like how you really can't go to the top very quickly in this business if you have lots of luck. But even in those exceptional scenarios, man, it matters how you treat people.
It really does.
It matters how you fucking treat people. I'm in this environment right now in school and just being over here in this town, and like you can really tell that like the people who you're gonna hope and assume that everybody is talented enough to compete. So if that's a given, then you're spending so much fucking time with each other. You want to actually not hate each other.
That's the
you
trick.
want to feel like you're treating with respect and getting respect. And man, so it was not a positive, happy watch. It was hard to watch and really kind of disgusting at some points, but a good reminder that like Jesus Christ. Anyway, that was on Prime. If anybody wants to check that one out, that was an interesting, informative documentary about a crazy rise and fall. But yeah, what are we doing next week, dude? Do we have anything on the docket?
Well, on the docket at the moment is the outfit.
Oh yeah, we are coming into that time of year where we might have to start scrounging. I know we still haven't seen
the
Belfast
outfit is
either.
it's fair. The outfit's a Mark Rylance film, so I'm kind of interested in what that is. Yeah,
maybe you've heard of him, Mark Rylance, folks. Pretty good actor.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of things.
Check our show notes, check our announcements. I think we're going to be doing that one, but we might not.
It could be anything. That's what's on the list. But if something better comes up, we'll definitely. I'll probably go and see that anyway, and then we'll do whatever we do.
Thank you, film fans. Have a great fucking week. Enjoy your time. Watch The Adam Project.